Are you familiar with the Second Amendment? Can you recite the Second Amendment to us? Mr. Van
27 words. Well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Okay. Is there any mention of an individual's right to a gun for self-defense or recreation in the Second Amendment?
Yes. The people. Same as the First Amendment, same as the Fourth Amendment, same as the Ninth Amendment.
There is not a single word about an individual's right to a gun for self-defense or recreation in the Second Amendment.
All right, boys and girls, Todd Vandermeide here for Freedom Steel, former NRA contract lobbyist and all-around Illinois gun law guru. That was that opening you heard there was Representative Stoneback, sitting there and grilling the three panels, trying to get her gotcha questions in there, and going back to this rusted old argument about how nobody pays attention to the first half of the Second Amendment. So what you heard was her asking panel members if they knew the Second Amendment, and obviously I do. And I recited it to her verbatim. And then she asked me, well, where in there does it talk about an individual? And my answer is the people. Same as the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Ninth Amendment, the people. And she didn't like that answer. And she said, no, it's not in there. And what she was trying to, and then she doesn't want to debate me any longer, so she moves on to John Weber from the NRA and tries to go down this whole line of questioning about the NRA being funded by the gun industry and a bunch of BS. So what happens here is that she didn't let me get some time in to answer another question. I thought she was going to ask more and get to the self-defense, whatever part of that, and I was going to go into the definition of bear. But didn't happen. I didn't think, she knew that I was going to be able to stand my ground, and she didn't want to tangle with me. So let's call this, Mrs. Stoneback's Second Amendment tutorial. Since you have a hard time understanding the 27 words of the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Grammatically, it's divided into what's called the prefatory clause and then the operative clause. And while you want to try to bootstrap up some BS notion that well-regulated is the excuse to pass all the gun control you want, you're wrong. And so because of that, this issue was explicitly dealt with in the Heller decision. And in the Heller decision, in the actual holdings, where they say this is what our decision means, and these are the bullet points, pun intended, about what it is, the weight of the decision carries. Whereas the actual opinion kind of explains how they got there. So here, they held the first holding under the Heller decision. The Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess a firearm unconnected with service in the militia and to use that arm for traditionally lawful purposes such as self-defense within the home. It goes on to say the amendment's prefatory clause announces a purpose but does not limit or expand the scope of the second part, the operative clause. The operative clause's text and history demonstrate that it denotes an individual right to keep and bear arms. That's not me, Representative. That is 5 Supreme Court justices saying so. So no, you're wrong. The Second Amendment does specifically talk about an individual right because it's the people. The people. Now, Representative, if you're still a little confused by this, let me go to what the court said in the operative clause, the right of the people. The first salient feature of the operative clause is that it codifies a right of the people. The unamended Constitution and the Bill of Rights use the phrase right of the people 2 other times in the First Amendment's Assembly and Petition Clause and in the Fourth Amendment Search and Seizure Clause. The Ninth Amendment uses very similar terminology. The enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. All 3 of these instances unambiguously refer to individual rights, not collective rights, or rights that may be exercised only through participation in some corporate body. 3 provisions of the Constitution refer to people in a context other than rights. The famous preamble, "We the people," subsection 2 of Article 1, providing that the people will choose members of the House, and the 10th Amendment, providing that those powers not given to the federal government remain with the states or the people. Those provisions arguably refer to the people acting collectively, but they deal with the exercise or reservations of powers, not rights. Nowhere else in the Constitution does a right attributed to the people refer to anything other than an individual right. So, Representative, you're just flat out wrong. Now, the other part that we didn't get to debate, that we didn't get to discuss, is that, where does it say, carry for self-defense or have for recreational purposes? Well, tell you what, I'm not, Justice Scalia was just brilliant when he did this. He quoted Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Imagine that. The notorious RBG actually said something about this. And in Heller, they said, in Muscalero v. United States, in the course of analyzing the meaning of carries a firearm in a federal criminal statute, Justice Ginsburg wrote that surely a most familiar meaning is, as the Constitution's Second Amendment indicates, wear, bear, or carry upon the person or in the clothing or in a pocket for the purpose of being armed and ready for offensive or defensive action in case of a conflict with another person. We think that Justice Ginsburg accurately captured the natural meaning of arms, although the phrase implies that carrying of the weapon is for the purpose of offensive or defensive actions. It in no way connotes participation in a structured military organization. So there you have it. Representative Stoneback, you know what? I hope this tutorial has been helpful. I doubt that you're going to pay much attention to it, but the fact is you are just wrong. And you and the anti-gunners have been trying to bootstrap this BS argument up forever, that somehow we just ignored the first half. We didn't ignore the first half. It denotes a purpose, but it does not limit the operative clause. Our founding fathers didn't just come back from a hunting trip. They just came out of a war with the most powerful nation on the planet. A rebellion led by farmers and shopkeepers who took their own firearms into the fray until they could be outfitted by the government with arms. And so, that's what it is. We didn't forget about it. We didn't ignore it. We just understand that the second half is the actual portion that doesn't put a limit on us. It puts a limit on you, the government, in what you can do to us. That's the way it was written. So, sorry, you're just wrong. But some things you just can't fix. So, with that, guys, I'll have more on the committee hearing, I'll have more on my testimony and what was going on there. Got some favorable news reports, and there are some pictures of me floating around on the web now. If you want to know why I'm always wearing a ball cap in my video, in these videos, well, here, this is why. I've kind of been letting my beard and hair grow. Some people were wondering, could it be a gig at the mall with playing Santa? Maybe. Contractor work in Syria? Possibly. I don't know. But as always, hey, like, subscribe, copy and paste the link, share it around to all your friends, all your social media. Let them know what's going on here. We really appreciate it. Watch the videos, pass around more views. Helps us fuel the algorithms that make things possible here. And with that, as always, frag out.